What happens when a country music icon known for her grace, her warmth, and her deep Southern roots is suddenly pushed to her breaking point on live television? What happens when a simple daytime interview turns into a cultural clash, a viral explosion, in a moment that leaves millions of viewers stunned and speechless? This is the moment Reba McEntire, the beloved queen of country, faced something she never expected, a public jab at the very identity she spent her whole life honoring. It began as just another episode of The View. The audience was laughing. The hosts were smiling, and the conversation seemed harmless. But under the bright studio lights, energy can shift in an instant, and that's exactly what happened when Joy Behar made a comment that didn't just cross a line. It erased it entirely. A comment that landed not as a joke, but as an insult. Not as humor, but as a direct hit on the South, on its values, and on everyone who calls it home. For a split second, the room froze. The audience hesitated. The panelists exchanged looks. And Reba, usually calm, collected, and grounded, felt something inside snap. This was no longer about celebrity questions or playful banter. This was about respect, about pride, about drawing a line that should never have been crossed. What happened next would ignite social media, divide viewers nationwide, and create one of the most unforgettable live TV moments of the year. This is the story of how a single comment turned a peaceful interview into a cultural firestorm. Asterisk. The episode began like any other, upbeat, energetic, and full of chatter. The studio audience buzzed with excitement as Reba McEntire stepped onto the stage, waving with her signature warm smile. She was there to promote her latest project, but more than that. She radiated the effortless charm that made her a household name. Even the host seemed unusually cheerful, eager to dive into light questions about music, touring, and life in the spotlight. Reba answered with grace, tossing in a few jokes that made the crowd burst into laughter. Everything felt comfortable. The energy was smooth, easy, predictable. Viewers watching at home likely assumed this would be just another celebrity interview in the long history of daytime television, but something small began to shift. Joy Behar, known for her sharp humor and pointed commentary, leaned into a question about Reba's upbringing in the South. At first it was harmless. Reba responded with pride, sharing memories of community, simplicity, and the values that shaped her. Then Joy pushed a little further, adding a comment that felt slightly off, not offensive, but edging towards stereotype. The audience reacted with polite laughter, but Reba's polite smile dipped for half a second. It was subtle, but the tension was there. Something in the room tightened. Like an invisible thread pulling taut, the calm atmosphere lingered. But it was fragile, one comment away from collapsing completely. And that collapse was coming faster than anyone realized. Asterisk, the shift happened quickly. One moment, Joy and Reba were exchanging stories. The next, Joy leaned back in her chair and delivered a comment that instantly sucked the warmth out of the studio. Her tone was playful, but the words weren't. It was a sweeping jab at the South, suggesting outdated stereotypes, mocking lifestyle differences, framing Southern culture as backward. The audience responded with an uncomfortable mix of chuckles and silence. Some didn't know whether to laugh. Others froze entirely. The camera cut to Reba, whose expression changed in a heartbeat. Gone was the easy smile. In its place was something colder, sharper hurt, wrapped in disappointment. Reba didn't interrupt. Not yet. She waited, letting Joy finish. But the air between them thickened, and even the other hosts sensed it. Sunny and Sarah exchanged glances, their faces tightening with the realization that something had gone wrong. Joy, unaware at first, kept talking. But the more she doubled down, thinking she was just being humorous, the deeper the tension grew. Reba's posture straightened. Her hands tightened slightly in her lap. She inhaled slowly, as if steadying herself. It wasn't just a joke to her. It wasn't even just a personal insult. It was an attack on millions of people she proudly represented. The kind of comment that ripples far beyond a TV studio. And when Reba finally spoke, the room went silent, not because she raised her voice, but because everyone sensed the explosion was seconds away. Reba didn't lash out immediately. Instead, She began with a calm tone that felt more dangerous than anger. Her voice was steady, her expression firm, and she didn't break eye contact with Joy for a single second. The audience leaned in, sensing a shift from awkwardness to confrontation. "Joy," she said slowly, "there's a difference between teasing and disrespect." The room froze. Joy blinked, taken aback but trying to laugh it off. She added another light comment, brushing it aside, but Reba wasn't letting it slide. "Not today," Reba continued, this time louder, more forceful. She spoke about Southern values, about respect, about the pride that millions of families hold close to their hearts. She reminded the panel and the world that stereotypes aren't harmless jokes, especially when broadcast to millions. The other hosts stayed silent. The audience stopped reacting entirely. Even the producers behind the cameras hesitated, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let the moment play out. Then came the breaking point. Joy attempted a final defense, insisting she didn't mean it like that. Reba interrupted. "Intent doesn't erase impact," she said sharply, "and I won't sit here and let where I come from be mocked." It was the line that shook the studio. A gasp rippled across the audience. Joy stiffened. This wasn't banter anymore, this was a public stand. And it was only about to escalate further. The studio was so silent you could hear the hum of the overhead lights. Reba's final words hung in the air, heavy and immovable. For a long second, no one spoke. Even Joy looked stunned, unsure how to recover. Reba didn't wait for a response. She pushed her chair back slow, controlled, deliberate. The scrape echoed through the studio like a warning bell. She stood up, smoothed her blazer, and looked directly at the cameras. "I'm not going to sit here and be part of this," she said firmly. With that, she turned and walked off the set. Not fast, not dramatic, just powerful. A silent declaration that the line had been crossed and she was done. The audience erupted not in cheers, but in shocked whispers. The hosts scrambled. Sunny tried to speak, Sarah attempted to redirect, and Joy nervously laughed, trying to downplay the moment. It didn't work. Producers waved frantically behind the scenes. A commercial break was cued too late. The cameras caught every second of the chaos. Viewers at home witnessed everything: the tension, the walk-off, the host's stunned reactions. Within minutes, clips began appearing on social media. Screenshots spread across Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Hashtags exploded. Memes were already being made before the show even ended. By the time the segment resumed, the damage was irreversible. The moment had gone viral. The fallout was immediate and massive. By the next morning, every major entertainment outlet was covering the clash. Headlines framed it as a cultural battle, a celebrity confrontation. In one of the most shocking moments in recent daytime TV history, Reba's team released a calm but firm statement. She emphasized her love for the South, the values she grew up with, and the importance of respecting all backgrounds. She didn't mention Joy by name, but the message was clear. Fans flooded social media with support. Country artists, actors, and public figures weighed in, calling Reba's response powerful and overdue. For many, she had spoken for them. She had stood up not just for herself, but for millions. Joy, meanwhile, addressed the controversy on the next episode of The View. She attempted to clarify, saying she didn't intend to offend anyone and that her comment was taken the wrong way. But the audience reaction was mixed. Some defended her. Others criticized her apology as too casual for the impact the moment had. The debate spread beyond entertainment circles. Cultural commentators dissected the exchange. Morning shows analyzed both sides. And fans continued arguing, online Team Reba versus Team Joy. What began as a simple interview had transformed into a nationwide conversation about respect, stereotypes, and the power of standing up publicly. If this moment taught us anything, it's that live television can change everything in an instant, and that one voice, standing firm, can spark a nationwide conversation. And if you want to stay ahead of every explosive moment, every behind-the-scenes truth, and every celebrity clash that sends shockwaves across social media, then this is the place to be. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. because you don't want to miss what's coming next. From dramatic walk-offs to unexpected confrontations. From emotional breakthroughs to viral moments that have everyone talking, we bring you the full story behind the headlines. The context no one else explains and the raw truth behind every on-air firestorm. Your support helps this channel grow, helps these stories reach more people, gives you a front row seat to the biggest entertainment dramas unfolding in real time. So stay connected, stay updated, and stay ready, because the next big moment is always just one broadcast away. Hit that button. Join the community, and let's dive deeper into the stories the world can't stop talking about.